Let's get started.
J.C. Sherbert. Woo! 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 Woo!
May I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
The electricity here in Columbia, well, has been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the rain breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina! It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherbert.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losers.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
All right, greetings and good morning and welcome aboard. And of course, welcome home inside the Gamecocks, the show live from the Signorama Studios, the preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics and built by the Barndo Co. The barndominiumco.com, where you can build your dream home for as low as $160 per square foot. You see their commercials in our show every day. Those are real. Those houses you see, that's right. They're real. You could have the coolest house on the block or in the area, I promise you. If you've not seen what a barn dominium looks like, it's not a barn and it's not a condominium. It's a barn dominium. They call them that for a reason. Make sure you head to the barndominiumco.com. The Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee. Build your dream house for as low as $160 a square foot. And guess what? Yeah, they're Gamecock owned and operated as well. JC, JB, and Phil, we're also Gamecock owned and operated here. We're here until 1 o'clock this afternoon. South Carolina falls again last night at home in a midweek contest, their final one of the season, heading into the final series of the regular season against Tennessee. Tomorrow night is when it starts at Founders Park, and boy, they're in desperate need of some wins if they want to secure a regional hosting spot. Not long ago, they were maybe the best team in college baseball. No more, though. With the 11-9 loss last night, pitching was atrocious, to be honest with you. And offensively, they've just got some issues they still have to continue to work out if they can do it. Also, a rough day on the recruiting front. A couple of running backs commit elsewhere. Sharko is headed to Kentucky. Diggs is headed to LSU. That was expected by many. Shane Beamer and his staff, the fact that they were even in it that long, from what I understand, is quite a remarkable feat for that staff. So we'll certainly talk about those couple of things today. EA Sports is bringing back football and your favorite players starting next year. You won't have to continue to play the 2014 college football game anymore if you haven't heard, and you'll actually see the names in there. You don't have to actually go and edit the whole team like some people like to do. But all of that today will take a major backseat to the guest that will join us in 13 minutes in our Born to Crow Carolina Conversation series. He's the best catcher to ever put on the uniform at the University of South Carolina, and he goes by the name of Landon Powell. He's also, of course, the head baseball coach and national championship winning baseball coach at North Greenville University here in the upstate of South Carolina. He's a former first-round draft pick of the Oakland A's. He caught a perfect game and a partridge in a pear tree, but all of that is a backseat in his story to his personal life and what he has been through with his daughter, Izzy, and the rest of his children, what he has gone through personally with his health issues, and so on and so forth. Landon Powell's story is one of the great stories in sports, and we are really going to have an unbelievable conversation with him here in just a little bit. Can't wait for that. If you grew up like I did, you wanted to be Landon Powell. He was something to see back there behind home plate at the Sarge in Columbia. So looking forward to getting him back or getting him on here in just a little bit. They will begin the D2 playoffs tomorrow night as they host a regional up at North Greenville. Maybe Phil will be out there and paint his chest for everybody and send us a photo to air on Friday morning. But with all of that said, good morning to Phil, Classic Phil, and good morning to the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. J.C. Schubert.
By the way, we forgot Phil's birthday this week.
Oh, son of a nut.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jamie actually talked about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was Monday, I think.
Or Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
So happy birthday,
Damn
Phil.
it, Phil.
I mean, then I actually, once we got off on Monday, I texted him. I was like, damn, I forgot your birthday. And then I forgot it yesterday, too. So happy birthday, Phil. I mean,
sorry, Phil.
Chances are on my birthday, we're never going to have a show because my birthday's the day after Christmas. So, but dadgummit, we missed it. And I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, Phil, because I mean, Phil's good at keeping up with birthdays, and I guess I'm just not. So, but I hope you had a wonderful day on Monday, Phil.
I did. I don't know about how good I am at keeping up with birthdays, but yeah, thank you.
Clint goes, Gamecock baseball is bad enough. Forgetting Phil's birthday is unacceptable. It is. And I've been kicking myself for that, but and I should have said it. So I wanted to say that. Right
that's ridiculous. And I'll put the blame on myself because
I was kicking myself, man. I was just and then yesterday to follow up with
it or anything, So
Jeez,
happy 30th.
man.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah,
30th.
Happy 30th. The ripe old age of 30. So
he's in Vegas, so it's either early or he's still up.
Yeah, what was it? 8:10 a.m. out in beautiful Las Vegas. A friend of mine's actually out in Las Vegas. I told him to scout out a cheap place for me to get married by Elvis because Nat just is in the background. Just heard me say that. Went, oh my God! But that's where I'm leaning.
You said Mark is in Vegas.
Mark is in Vegas. Mark from the chat box. And,
speaking of Vegas, happy birthday to Phil.
Man, if that would be us if we lived like in LA and could drive to Vegas, that would be us.
Yeah, it would.
Classic Phil.
That'd be Phil on the phone to Dina right now.
Classic Phil.
Yeah, that's right.
That's JC.
Tomorrow.
Wrong finger. JC, there he is, right there. That's JC up against the car. Yeah.
Oh, man. What a movie. Anyway,
No doubt.
Yeah, it's something else. So,
classic Phil.
Classic Phil. So, but anyway. Oh man.
Well, I tell you what, we'll do. We will make sure. Believe me, boys and girls, we'll get into a lot of the running back stuff, and there's nothing really to get into. They didn't land it, but we will talk about that today. But we're not going to try to cram it in here in the next 5 minutes. We want to make sure we get out in time to get Landon in. But before we do get Landon in, we can certainly recap what happened last night at Founders Park, which really is not much of a recap either because South Carolina falls 11-9 to Charlotte. It's their second loss of the year to the 49ers, and it's a really tough loss at a tough time. South Carolina they have to have a good week, and they're not off to a good start with that loss if they want to host a regional. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, they sit at 37-15. The pitching last night was terrible. They had 6 walks in the game. They did have a ton of strikeouts, which is great. But they also walked 6 guys, and Charlotte tallied 15 hits. That's 21 base runners, and they've scored 11 runs. And once again, South Carolina answers. Thomas LeCroy has an unbelievable at bat. I mean, that is like you can't draw it up any better than that. When somebody gets down 0-2, here's what you do: battle. Try to get a mistake and drive it. He did. He drove it out of the yard. They tie it. You think, okay, all right, let's win it late, survive, get out of here, and get to the weekend. And then, of course, the very next half inning, and it's been happening a lot lately, they come out and just stink it up. Chris Veach apparently maybe bangs up a hip a little bit. He was not good. Look, I'll say this, okay? Here's some baseball expertise for you, Classic Phil. All right. They have the pitching. They have the players. Okay. They have it. All right? You can't sit here and say they don't have good players, and you can't say they don't have good pitching. They do. Kip said something last night. I had literally just got done texting this in a group chat. You absolutely cannot be scared to throw the fastball, and they are scared blankless to do it, and I don't know why. They from a pitching, this has been happening last weekend. The starting pitching was great. I mean, Jack Mahoney was brilliant. Eli Jones stepping in on Friday night, awesome. Matthew Becker, quality start on Sunday on the road, young man, well done. I mean, these guys were really good. But you know what they did? They pitched to both sides of the plate. They used 2 pitches. They used 3 pitches. Last night, breaking ball, change up. Well, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, they're going to sit on it. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter. They're Charlotte. They're still college hitters. I mean, I haven't picked up a bat in 5 years. If you're just going to sit there and spin off speed, guess what? I'm going to look for it. And chances are I'm going to hit one. Okay? I promise you. All right. You cannot continue to live like that. I don't know where it's coming from. They got to get that out of here. You get beat with your fastball, screw it. You got beat. The hell with it. Tip your cap. Move on. You cannot be scared to throw the damn fastball inside and outside. That is pitching, period. That's it. There's nothing else to it. If you can't throw your fastball and establish it inside and outside, you can't do it. That's it. You can't pitch. Not this league. Not at this level. Can't do it. All right?
No.
This team is really good. But I don't know what in the world has infiltrated this way of thinking on that side of things. And then offensively, the approach continues to just be strange because it was really good for the large majority of the year. Petrie looked good last night. Felt like he kind of, when he drove that ball in the gap, that was much more him, the right center gap. Cole Messina looked good last night. But, outside of that, I mean, they're struggling at times. That LeCroy at bat, there was some good and bad. There was a lot of good and there was a lot of bad. Couldn't get some hits late and this, but you score 9 runs against Charlotte, you should win the game. Period. Okay. They're scared to throw I don't know why they're scared to throw the fastball. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Are you worried the ball's going to leave the yard at a quicker pace? I mean, here's the other side of it. Then they're like, okay, well, they're not going to send it. They're not going to throw fastballs. So we'll just, hit little knocks all over the place. It's death by 1,000 cuts last night, which has got to be a worse feeling in the long run. Because, here you are. They small balled you into 11 runs at home.
Yeah, I mean,
on a Tuesday.
It was dingleberry baseball. I mean, it was really, really, really frustrating to watch. They're better than that.
Yeah,
they know they're
they
better.
Really are.
Mm-hmm. And I can't say I hate the Sunday morning coaching and stuff like that. That's not me, so that's not the way I want this to come out at all. I really miss the days of having an established midweek starter. I really miss that. I don't care that they play on Thursday night. You can't lose these games. You're gonna always lose one or two. That's gonna happen. Happens to everybody. LSU, any team in the country, they've all lost them. Wake has. You're gonna lose one or two. You can't lose them now, and especially when you're playing with hosting a regional on the line. You just cannot do it. You got to take the mentality if we're going to go in and we're going to shove it up their rear ends. If the guy that we're starting, if he can't go, if you can't get him 5, 6, 7 innings, okay, yeah, I get it. You got to make a change. That's just baseball. It's called coaching. But this whole thing of 2 innings, 1, 2, 3, I'd rather see him throw it in the trash. I mean, but everybody's doing it in baseball. This isn't like a knock on Coach Kingston. I mean, it's everywhere in the game. I think it sucks. But that's just me. So
yeah, and you're having to adjust to the fact that you only got a 2-day turnaround again before you fire up your weekend series. It's like because you can't guarantee that's a Friday start because this week it is Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get 1 day off and then you're right back at it. So I mean, I can understand why we threw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers.
Yeah, Sam Simpson, by the way, looked really good in there.
Yeah,
like the McCreary situation. That was interesting. I mean, of course, you don't expect Veach to go in and blow up. I mean, he's probably been your most solid guy out of the pen all year. But he threw. How many pitches did he throw last night? Veach 21. I bet he threw 4 fastballs. I mean, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I don't know what they need to do to fix it. I mean, I think we do know, but. Hopefully they can get it fixed, and tomorrow night will be Eli Jones's night, and we'll see from there. So, but we do need to step aside. It is almost 11:20. I guess where's JC? What happened now?
I'm not sure where he is, and Landon's not yet in, but we still got a couple minutes here. Yeah.
All right, so we'll hit a timeout, and when we return, our Born to Crow Carolina Conversation series continues. Remember last week, Robert Brooks, Don Ellerby, Mark Burson. Another legend this week from the Diamond. We're covering every sport, seemingly, at South Carolina. Landon Powell, head baseball coach at North Greenville, and the best catcher to ever put on the uniform at South Carolina, will join us next right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The real estate market has changed dramatically from just a year ago. Rates, supply, demand, all of your traditional factors are in a transition phase. That's why if you or someone you know are considering making a move in the low country, contact me, JB, at Coast to Coast Realty. I work with an outstanding support cast of attorneys, lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, and more, all of whom are valuable in helping find a way for you to comfortably make your real estate decision. That's right. Call me, JB, your low country real estate broadcaster. Building your dream home is often just that, a dream. And sometimes a nightmare. But at the Barndo Company, they commit to quality and build without sacrifice. Customization, open floor plans, limitless flooring options, maintenance-free and easy installation perks, and affordability are just a few reasons why they've been named one of the best builders in the U.S. Believe in your dreams. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com. The Barndo Company. Gamecock owned. Gamecock operated.
Traveling to cheer on the Gamecocks? Reserve your hotel stay with Fan Plans. Your booking supports Inside the Gamecocks and the Big Spur, plus you still earn your hotel loyalty points. Visit fanplans.com/Inside the Gamecocks.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? This is Jakar Moore from the DMV, and you are listening to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show presented to you in the first hour by Cindy Searfoss and the Coldwell Banker Kane Realty team. We're getting a couple of things lined up in the background, but until then, we will see you back here in about 1 minute.
Here comes the blitz. Danny Hill. He'll run. Touchdown! Oh, watch him celebrate now. With the ball to Bennett. He dives. Up the middle. Stand. Throw to the plate. Pick it up. What a play. Ahead to Frederick. Frederick lays it in at the buzzer. That's a win. Unbelievable. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Back to Thomas Dendy, and Dendy spins into the open, and he's on his way. It's a tie-ball game if they can hit the extra point. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown board, his second of the day.
Okay, 11:24 here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. JC's had to step out for just a little bit to handle some business, but we are joined by the head baseball coach up at North Greenville University. Is a former catcher and first-round draft pick at the University of South Carolina, and as I've said often, and he probably will shy this away and give it to Ryan Bordenick or somebody like that, but he's the best catcher to ever do it at Carolina. Landon Powell has made some time for us in our Born to Crow series here on Inside the Gamecocks. What's up, man?
Not much. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm sorry for being a couple minutes late. Hope you can hear me and see me well. I was having some technical difficulties there.
Well, it can't be any worse than Monty or Wingo, because, I mean, I've known Monty since I was like 9 years old, Landon, and I've always known that he was technologically, troubled, but I didn't realize it was that bad. He actually told us that when Wi-Fi came out, he had no idea what it was. He was calling it Wi-Fi for the longest time.
That doesn't surprise me. He's more comfortable sitting in a tree stand with a bow and arrow than he is probably using technology. So Wingo, I know, he obviously was on my staff here for 2 years at North Greenville, so I know him very well as also, and he's a character. He's hilarious. So I've seen him get pretty angry at his phone before because he can't figure out something. But no, I think I was on my university Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, as we could call it, and the firewall wasn't letting me log on, so I had to finally just disconnect from. So I'm on 5G right now. So hopefully that works all right.
You'll be all right, dude. Coach Lake generally joins us from a truck in the middle of the woods somewhere, so it's fine. We'll figure it all out. But man, we really do appreciate it. We we'll keep you as long as you'll let us keep you. We generally try to put in about 20 minutes or so and get through as much as we can. Landon, we'll start with what's present, and then let's go. The point of this segment that we do now every week is to take people through the lives of the greatest to ever do it at Carolina. And so we certainly want to go back as far as we can with you. There's so many different things to discuss in your life and in your career. But let's get to the present day real quick, because you got a game to coach tomorrow night. Y'all are the number 1 seed, and you're the defending national champions at the D2 level. And tomorrow night you're going to play at 7:30. You've got the winner of Mount Olive and Georgia Southwestern at home. So kind of walk us through your regional real quick here, and what you know about those two guys, and whoever you get, what that matchup may look like. Oh,
I bet he got a call.
Oh yeah, that's right. He probably did.
Am I still here?
You're back.
Am I all right?
A phone call?
Someone beeped in. So I had to exit real quick. So hopefully that won't happen anymore. No, it's going to be a gauntlet. Our regional is really tough. Division II does it differently than Division I. It's in Division I, the top 16 national seeds, no matter where they're located or anything, they're going to get in and host. Division II, it's all based on where you are, your location, regional. So we're in the Southeast region, which is, I would say, arguably the best region in Division II baseball by far. Most teams in the top 25 in this region. So only 2 teams from our region get to host. Doesn't matter, even though we have 8 teams in the top 25, only 2 of them are going to host just because it's done in the region. And then like the Northwest or the Northeast region, who may have 0 teams in the top 25, they also will get 2 teams that host. So it's just done differently. It's a lot harder to host at this level. We got 40 teams in our region, and only 2 of them get to host. So we've been fortunate. This is our 5th year in a row hosting. So that's a pretty unprecedented run. We're really proud of that. It's always better to play at home in the postseason for sure. This year we get to host Mount Olive and Georgia Southwestern. So I would say it's probably the toughest region maybe in the country as far as regional goes. We won the conference regular season, and we've been ranked number 1 in the country.
Probably another one.
Yeah. It's typically what happens when they black out the screen. Oh no.
Yeah. Did he lose it? He'll be right back in.
Yeah, he'll pop back in here and just.
Well, he had mentioned to me yesterday that the Wi-Fi and the computer up there were a little iffy. I thought, man, we're winning a national championship. They sure are pinching you, aren't they?
I don't think it has anything to do with the infrastructure up here in the northern part of Greenville County. I'm surprised this 5G is working that well.
Yeah, well, that's true. In what is it, Tigerville, South Carolina, right?
That's right. Lovely Tigerville,
the home of the Crusaders. But as we're getting him back here, North Greenville is 44-8. So if they win the Southeast Regional number 1, which he's discussing, they'll get the winner of Southeast Regional number 2, which is hosted at Newberry. It's amazing what they've done with that program there. Coach Triplett, 41-13 are the Wolves, and they've got UNC Pembroke tomorrow night, and so they're going to try to work their way through and get a date with the Crusaders. That would certainly be something here in South Carolina. But 5 years in a row is just
nuts. When he said that, I didn't realize it had been that many.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy.
And then the other thing that I found glaringly interesting was the little jump man on that North Greenville apparently is a jump man school.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Landon back. Here he is.
Funny how that works out. Yeah,
there
he is.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
No, you're great. Man. You're coming in loud and clear, looking even better, right, man.
Yeah.
So what I've just done, I got rid of my cell phone. I threw it off a cliff, and I'm on my iPad now. So I don't think I'll get any more phone calls on my iPad. It doesn't receive phone calls. So you just got a little behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to be a college baseball coach. Your phone never stops ringing. And I should have known before I even got on here with you guys that I shouldn't have done it on my phone because in the 3 minutes we were on, I had 3 phone calls. So the phone is away. I'm on my iPad. Hopefully we will have no other distractions or interruptions. I apologize. I hate to mess up your show like that.
No, dude, you're fine.
Not at all, man.
You're fine. I kind of went through the bracket while you were gone and how it might advance. But I got a question for you. How have you done it, Landon? 5 straight years being a host?
Yeah, it's just we've had a good run. We've had some great players. I have a senior class right now that's been remarkable. Some incredibly good players. Some of the greats that probably, my catcher, I think, can go down as maybe the greatest Division II baseball player of all time. The resume he's put together has been incredible. His name's John Michael Fail. He was 5A State Player of the Year in South Carolina at a Boiling Springs High School, and we were able to steal him away from some Division I's, and he really believed in what we were doing here at North Greenville, so came to play for me. And in his career, he was National Freshman of the Year and a first-team All-American as a freshman. Sophomore year, he was National Player of the Year by perfect game and another first-team All-American. Last year as a junior was a first-team All-American. He's been a 4-team All-Conference guy, 4-year All-Conference guy, and he's won a conference championship all 4 years, and he won a national championship last year. He's been Conference Player of the Year, Region Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. And by the way, this season he broke the all-time Division II RBI record, which had been held for 30 years, and he broke the all-time Division II home run record, which had been around for a long time. So this guy's resume, he's probably the greatest Division II baseball player of all time, and he's a homegrown kid right here from South Carolina, and he'll go play some professional baseball after this year. He's had a remarkable career. So guys like him, as well as several others, have just been incredible players that we've been able to build this program around, and I like to win. I like to have fun. The way we run our program, I think the environment we've built, it creates a really competitive atmosphere. And these guys come in and they're not satisfied. They don't get complacent. They want to win at all costs all the time. And that's kind of how I'm wired. So I think that's probably why we've had the success we've had. We've had great players trust in us and want to come here and be a part of what we're doing. But also, we show up every single day with a competitive fire in us, and we just want to keep winning and having fun doing it. So I learned that stuff from a great coach myself, Coach Tanner, and at that ball field right there behind you, Sarge Fry. A lot of great memories at that field. And every single day of practice, what I can say about Coach Tanner is he showed up in full uniform, ready to compete. There were no days off. There were no you didn't take it easy, or there was zero complacency in that man. And as a guy that played for him for 4 years, that helped instill that in me, and I've tried to carry that throughout my coaching career as well. So,
Landon, first of all, to back up everything you just said here, John Michael Fail's numbers, somebody's about to drive off the road when I read these. A career 397 hitter, career 397 hitter. That's 5 seasons worth of baseball. You got to remember 2020 was cut short after 22 games played. I mean, I don't know what happened to him this year. He totally fell off the map, only hitting 338 with 14
yeah, he's had a
jacks,
bad year.
7 ribbies. And this is insane. 75 career home runs and 320 career RBI.
Those are all-time records for Division II baseball. So.
That's insane. I mean, I'm going to call Smoke after this and be like, Justin, who? You only hit 63. I mean, this kid.
Justin did it in 3 years, so pretty incredible that he did that. And John Mike's done it in 4. But no, it's what this guy's done here is remarkable. And you know what people, if anybody's ever been up here to Tigerville where we play, it's not a hitter-friendly ballpark. I mean, the wind blows in most of the time. So the fact that he's done that at this ballpark, even more incredible. So also a great catcher. He calls his own game, but he's just one of our many puzzle pieces. I mean, John Mike has had an incredible career, but you know, our right fielder Mark Kloop won Conference Player of the Year last year, and he played for the Czech Republic in the World Baseball Classic. Was the 3-hole hitter for Czech Republic. He's a incredible player himself. Our center fielder Pat Monteith grew up in Charleston. His grandmother was the first African American to ever graduate from the University of South Carolina. So that's or African American female to ever graduate from South Carolina. So that's a big deal. He's got a good name in the state of South Carolina, and Pat had an incredible year this year, also hitting close to 370 with 17 home runs, and I think he led the conference in runs and walks. So we have a lot of really good players. Pitching, we have a guy named Reese Fields, grew up right there near Columbia, went to Gray Collegiate Academy. He was national. Let's see, last year he was Conference Pitcher of the Year and All-American, and was the College World Series MVP last year. And he's followed it up this year. He's 12-2 and having another remarkable season. So we've had a lot of good players come through here, and I've been proud to coach him, and I think they've had a great experience, and they've won a lot, and that's what it should be about.
Yeah, that explains the 44-8 record. It's the best record in the country in D2 baseball. And for those of you that want to see all those guys play, it's a 7:30 first pitch tomorrow night at North Greenville. They will get the loser of game 1, which is between Mount Olive and Georgia Southwestern, as Landon stated earlier. Pretty loaded. Landon, I want to go back a minute because you mentioned Coach Tanner, who we're certainly going to talk about. He's probably the greatest thing never happened to this state in the game of baseball. How he's influenced the state in so many levels. You grew up in Apex, right? And I think one of the things that's interesting about you and your life is this never, of all the things you've done, this is something that always gets glossed over. You were Little League teammates with Josh Hamilton.
Yeah.
So number one, like, did y'all ever lose a game ever? And do y'all still talk? You still buddies with him?
Yeah. So we did lose some games, which is hard to believe, but we played in West Raleigh Little League, which back then and still today is the best Little League around that area. But back then it was a really competitive Little League where, in today's world, if you go to Little League and sign up, like, you're on a team. Like, they don't do tryouts and they don't cut kids. Back then there was 300 kids that would show up for tryouts, and only 100 of them were going to make the league. I mean, it was a very competitive thing. And so I lived in Apex, which was 30-something minutes away from West Raleigh Little League, and we drove all the way there to play. My dad had played in that league when he was little, and we met my dad knew a guy named Tony Hamilton who had a team and had a son that was a 10-year-old, and he asked my dad, me as a 9-year-old, wanted to join his team. And so that's when I first met Josh and started playing with him. And we were both shortstops and pitchers. And what would happen is Josh would pitch, and the catcher couldn't catch him. He threw so hard. So when he walked somebody, the next 3 pitches would go to the backstop and a run would score. And, we would lose some games. Like, Josh would throw no hitters and we would lose because guys would just score every time they got on base. So his dad actually went to my dad and said, "Hey, I have an idea. How about when Josh pitches, we put Landon behind the plate and see if he can catch him?" And that was history. That's how I became a catcher. I never left the position after that. So I can I've told Josh this many times, I can either thank him or blame him. I'm not sure which one it is for me being a catcher. When I think about my career and the things I was able to experience, I thank him. But when I get out of bed in the morning and try to walk around, I blame him. So, so Josh and I played Little League baseball, Pop Warner football, and rec basketball together, all on the same teams. It was it was amazing to grow up with him and see, firsthand a guy like him that he's just a freak. I mean, God gifted him to be an athlete, and the things that he could do on a sports field were just, incredible. I got to chase him and follow him, and I think a lot of the, being on the same teams with him is one of the reasons I became a good player, because I got to see firsthand what a superstar was like every day. And we'd go up to the high school field and hit together, and we'd go. He'd come over to my batting cage and hit in the yard with me. So I was just constantly chasing him and trying to, be as good as him. And I was nowhere as talented as him, but it helped me become a good player. And just, it's that iron sharpens iron kind of mentality. So here's a picture. I was going to pull up a picture of us in Little League, and you maybe could see Josh and I on the same team. Here's one. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me find it on my camera.
Yeah.
So I'm right there in front, and Josh is circled in red right there. That's Josh. So that was in the state championship we won.
Yeah.
And so
Golly,
it was a great experience. I do still keep in touch with him. He's retired. He lives down in Texas on a ranch, raising his daughters down there. He's got a bunch of Brahma bulls and like high fenced pastures where he does a lot of hunting and stuff. So he's living a good life right now.
I know that Smoke enjoyed playing with him when they were in Texas together. He said that he was just an incredible teammate, great dude, and the whole 9 yards,
Here's Josh and I playing Pop Warner football.
What position did you play in football?
I was a quarterback. A quarterback, and Josh was running back, wide receiver. And
hey, were y'all good?
I was an orange soda guy, and he was a grape soda guy, as you can tell there in the
picture. When did you first cross paths with Coach Tanner?
So very young. Coach Tanner and my dad had played against each other in high school ball and Legion ball growing up. So they knew each other, and my dad became an ACC umpire when he finished his college career. Started umpiring games, and so I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and he was doing an NC State game, and he threw me in the car with him and said, "Come to the game." And I think he was going to have me sit up in the stands with some people he knew or something, but Coach Tanner said, "Hey, just have him come bat boy in the dugout." Coach Tanner always loved that. He loved to have kids in the dugout bat boying. He didn't do – a lot of colleges do the college girls, that sit there on the on-deck circle, which maybe when I was a player I would have enjoyed that. I don't know. But he always did the young kids, which I love. He's instilled love for a lot of kids to have in the game of baseball, and I think I can speak to that personally. Growing up in a dugout around a bunch of college baseball players, it made me want to play the game. So that's the first time I really met him, is when I was bat boying 5 or 6 years old when my dad was umpiring. And then Coach Tanner kind of extended that offer. Hey, anytime you come to a game, come in the dugout and bat boy. So I started doing it all the time. I bet I bat boyed probably 15 games a year. And Josh Hamilton did it with me a couple times. I brought him, and he bat boyed a little bit. He was an NC State fan. He actually committed to NC State before getting drafted. But so I grew up around Coach Tanner there, and then I went to all the NC State baseball camps as a kid. And, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and I won the hitter of the camp award. And that was a big deal. It was a trophy I had in my room all growing up. I was really proud of. And so then when I was maybe 13 years old, Coach Toman, who was Tanner's assistant, asked me, he told my dad, "Hey, tell him to bring some catcher's gear." And so Coach Toman started working me out, doing some catching stuff. I was in 8th grade. They put me back behind in batting practice, and I had to sit there and catch during batting practice, which is not very fun to do, but it was a good learning tool for me. And then I'll never forget one day, I've told this story a bunch of times, but one day Coach Toman grabbed me and said, "All right, let's go down to the bullpen." And I had my catcher's gear on. I walked down there. I'm in 8th grade. And I'd been with the team all year. I was kind of a member of the team that year. I would go to all the games, and I would bat boy and bullpen catch and everything. So this was before I'd ever called a bullpen. He walked me down there, and there's a guy named Corey Lee, who was a second-round draft pick. He pitched in the big leagues with the Rangers. And Corey was getting ready to throw his bullpen, and Coach Toman said, "All right, jump in there and catch him." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't. This guy's throwing 90 miles per hour, and I'm in 8th grade." And Coach Toman said, "Jump in there. Let's go." And I was terrified. And he said these words, which were a big impact on my career, whether he knew it or not. But he said, "You'll figure it out. You'll either get good or you'll get hurt, but you'll figure it out." And that was a great teaching tool for me as a catcher. Like, I got to catch this ball if I don't want to get hurt. And learning how to catch the ball so that it didn't hurt me or hit me at that age, it was kind of I was thrown in the fire there, and I had to figure out how to survive. And it helped me tremendously. That year of my career, learning how to catch college pitchers in 8th grade, it elevated my game as a catcher so much, and that set me on a path to become a really good high school player and eventually a college and pro player.
So
that makes me feel a lot better. That's how I taught my daughter to catch.
You're just
to protect yourself. Either not being a catcher, but just to catch a softball, baseball, or whatever. I'm like, no, listen, you're either going to get hurt or you're going to learn how to catch it.
Natural selection. That's sometimes the best teaching.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. I could hijack this conversation because I was a catcher too, Landon, and when I was a kid watching you, I'm not going to hijack it, by the way. I'm saying I could, because we could talk catching all day. And we talked to Coach Lake about this a lot. I see a lot of things. I don't know that guys are very well taught these days anymore. It doesn't seem like it used to be. And I want to ask you about a couple of those things in a minute, but being a catcher is rewarding, and it's hard in the whole 9 yards. And you were the best. Like when I was a few years behind you. So like when I was at Wando, watching the way you did things, how fluid you were, how you handled a staff, and most importantly, how you handled the staff, because they trusted you. I learned from a guy, Landon, Johnny Cribb, who told me, he said, those guys on the mound have to trust you more than they trust themselves, because they're not always going to trust themselves. And you got to be able to walk out there and make sure that they do it. So as you grew as a catcher, the guy you caught, guys you caught, man, like Matt Campbell and all these dudes. I mean, they were so good. What was your relationship like with them at South Carolina when y'all were in the bullpen, when you were in the game and you walked out to the mound? Did you speak? Did they speak? Kind of walk us through that relationship you had with all these guys when y'all played.
Early in my career and growing up in a college dugout, I kind of learned these things. So I think I was very well prepared going into college, kind of how to act and how to be. And I'd watched some great catchers and grew up paying attention to them. So as a freshman, I skipped my senior year of high school, and I didn't arrive in Columbia until January. So I'd missed the whole fall. Most freshmen get in there in the fall, and they get, that's when they get beat up and abused and kind of initiated to the team. And, you earn your stripes and you earn your respect. I didn't have an opportunity to do that in the fall. So I just showed up in January, and here we go. We start playing February 5th, and I've only been with the team for 3 or 4 weeks. So, and I started the first game of the year, which kind of put a target on my back. Like, I better perform. That's a big deal for a kid to come right out of high school, supposed to be a senior, and he's starting in the SEC. The first game of the year, I was catching Kip Balknight, who just won the Golden Spikes Award. So, I mean, what was I going to say to Kip? I was going to go out there and tell him what he's doing wrong or what he should do differently? No, like I was listening to Kip. I was keeping my mouth shut and listening and doing everything I could. That first game didn't go so well. It did offensively. We actually won 4-2. It was my first college game, and I had a home run and a double and 3 RBIs, and we won 4-2 against, I think it was Virginia Military Academy maybe, and or VMI, VCU, one of those. And I didn't catch well, though. Kip had a slider that was backing up a little bit. I'd never really seen a backup slider and didn't know how to catch it. And I think I had 3 pass balls in that game. So, the game gets over. I'm doing like the TV interview. I'm feeling like big man on campus. I had a couple RBIs and a home run my first game. I go get on the bus, and we won. We're all celebrating stuff. But Coach Tanner says, "Landon, come here." And so I walk up there, and he makes me sit next to him in his seat. And he goes, "How you think?" He probably doesn't like I tell this story, but it's the truth. He goes, "How you think you did?" I was like, did pretty good, Coach. I got home run. We won. Good first game. And he didn't smile. He was like, "You had 3 pass balls. If you can't catch, you can't play. Get back to your seat." And he always had that tough love with me because we knew each other for so long. But he was letting me know right then, like, hey, you can hit all you want, but I need a defensive catcher. I need a guy that can control the the running game, control the staff, and stop the ball behind the plate. Like, he needed a defensive catcher. So the next day he started 5th-year senior Tim Whitaker. All right, so I hit a home run in my first ever college game, and the next day didn't start. And Tim Whitaker, 5th-year senior, who I think at that time was a 200 career hitter maybe, Tim went off and hit 2 home runs that game. All right. And then next thing you know, Tim Whitaker hit 400 with 20 home runs that year and was an All-American. And I became a backup catcher DH that year. But it was a great learning experience for me because I got to watch some veterans. I got to learn from Kip and Lee Gronkevich and some of those older pitchers. And Jim Toman worked my butt off right over your right shoulder there in those racquetball courts. We called that the pit. And he had a machine he would take down there. And he'd get the most waterlogged baseballs he could find. And he would just shoot them at me as hard as he could shoot them. And I either had to catch him or block him or pretend I was throwing a runner out. And the amount of time I spent in that pit right above your right shoulder, you have no clue. And that's where I got better. So by the time I was a sophomore, now I could catch. I was legit. I knew what I was doing. I didn't have any more pass balls or errors. And then by the time, by the end of my sophomore year, I felt like I had become a leader on the team in some ways, even though I was younger. I think I had earned my credentials on the field. And so a catcher just naturally has to be a leader. You can't be very quiet or passive as a catcher. And I knew that. So, but then my junior and senior year, I would really consider I was a captain both years. And I felt like the pitchers trusted me. They knew that if they threw a curveball in the dirt, I could block it, which was very important on our staff. If you remember, you said Matt Campbell, but Matt Campbell, Stephen Bondurant, Gary Bell, Chris Spigner. I mean, we were the University of Sliders and Curves. That's what USC stood for, University of Sliders and Curves. So all we did was bounce sliders and curves on the plate and hope people swung at them. So I had to block all the time. And I was good at it, and that helped us as a team. Our pitchers had the confidence to know that I'd smother anything. So you earn that trust. It doesn't come overnight. It takes time, but I'm still close to a lot of my pitchers that I played with. I mean, David Marshbanks was one of my best friends and college roommate. We live next door to each other now, and I still talk to most of those guys. So I was fortunate to be a part of a great team and great players and great coaches, and I can't be more thankful for it.
How has it changed, Landon, teaching catchers and coaching catchers? Like I watch them now. Like, I mean, back in the day, you had to get as low as you could, right? But, a guy's going and you got to make sure you get it out. But you don't have a knee on the ground. And these guys are putting their knee on the ground. They look very relaxed back there. How's it changed? You coach?
Yeah, I'm jealous. I wish they would let us do that when I played.
Yeah.
So when I played, if you put your knee on the ground, they call you lazy.
That's right.
Like, get off your knee. You're being lazy. And I was very flexible, and I could have had my knee on the ground all the time when I caught. It was very easy for me to do that. And I would even I'd start with 2 knees up, and then as the pitch would be on the way, I would drop a knee.
Yep.
And get lower kind of underneath the ball. And but that was something that was not really allowed when I caught, and the game has definitely changed. You got several things I think that have happened here. So major league pitchers are just so accurate. I mean, that's one thing. They are so accurate. They can throw the ball where they want. You watch a major league game, I mean, they don't bounce many balls. They don't miss the catcher's mitt by more than 6 inches or so very often. They also, nowadays, the pitchers are pitching up in the zone so much. So getting on a knee, you don't have to worry about blocking as much. The reason you didn't want to be on a knee in previous years when I was doing it is because you're anchored into the ground. It limits your mobility side to side to be able to move and to block a pitch. It also limits your mobility jumping out from a squat to throw a guy out stealing, that transfer time. Well, you look at Major League Baseball and minor league baseball, they pitch up in the zone, they rarely bounce balls, and no one steals. So the need for the catcher to be off the knee is not what it used to be. Now, the problem is the trickle-down effect to college and high school doesn't translate. You have kids in the high school game trying to go to their knee because that's what they see. They see their favorite catcher in the major leagues doing. But then in high school, that pitcher can't locate like that big league guy. And he bounces a lot more balls. And the pitchers are not holding runners as well, and guys are stealing a lot more. So there's kind of a brokenness to catching at a youth level, in my opinion, because they're trying to do it like the big leaguers, and the pitchers aren't the same. So my guys here at North Greenville, I allow them to go to one knee with certain pitchers that I know are accurate or hold runners well or those things. But when we have a different guy who may not be as accurate, they get off of their knees, they stay ready to block and stay ready to throw. So, but I love catching. It's the backbone of the team, and any good team you've ever seen, I mean, go look at it. Any team that's ever won a national championship, won a World Series, you better believe they got a good catcher. So.
Yo, you're right about that. I'm glad you said what you said because I see a lot of that college, high school, and you're like, what are you doing? I mean, you have no body angle. You wonder why a ball that's spiked right in front of you is going to bounce left or bounce right when it should stay right there, and you're down on one knee. You can't, if you can't block it, you can't be on one knee. But anyways, we could do that all day. How much time do we have you for, Landon?
I'm good. We have our regional practice at 6 p.m. tonight, so I don't know if you have that much time or not.
Yeah, 6 hours.
I'm good.
We're good.
No, we're good. I got plenty of time.
We're we would really love to keep you a little bit longer. And I tell you what, Phil, we'll just go through the top of the hour. We're not gonna.
Yeah, I can. We'll work out the logistics and breaks and all that later.
We'll just do that. That's fine. Yeah.
No.
Landon in oh shoot, I skipped over this. I had to ask you this. The home run you hit against North Carolina in 2004 in the Supers. And how far do you think that thing actually went? Because I was at the game and I never saw it actually come down.
So that was that off of Daniel? Was that off of Andrew Miller?
I think so. The lefty.
Yeah, he's been in the big league for 10 or 12 years now.
I did. That
was the right-handed one. That's the right-handed one that went on the softball field. Yeah, I hit that pretty good.
Yeah, you did.
So we kind of owned UNC back there. You know, we ended UNC season 3 years in a row. And 02, 03, 04, I think that's right. So, but one of those years, me and Brian Busher, I think it was 03, Busher and I went back to back twice in the same series, and both of those were left-handed, I believe. But in 04, and they had Daniel Bard, Andrew Millard, and maybe Chris Woodard, who's now the coach at UNC Charlotte. He might have been there that year too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one off Andrew Miller, that was hit pretty good. So. I don't know if that was maybe my farthest one that I hit at South Carolina. The only other one would have been I hit one left-handed off of Luke Hochafer when he was pitching for Tennessee that went on the railroad tracks, they say. But that was a poke at the Sarge as well. So
the railroad tracks in the middle of the softball field. That's getting out of there pretty good. I remember watching that ball leave the yard, thinking He just did a lot more than hit a ball. I mean, he hurt Andrew Miller's feelings. Like that's one of those things that you don't ever want to turn around for. So then a few years later, you've gotten the call. You're in Oakland, and you know where I'm going. You catch the perfect game with Dallas Braden. But it's. I want to go into the game like into your head during that game. At what point in time, like. You're a catcher. You always know what's going on. Okay. Somebody else might not know, but you know. So like at what point in time in the ball game did it become serious in your mind as in, holy, we got a perfect game going here? And how did you handle that afterwards? Did Dallas know or what was going on in the dugout?
Yeah. I mean, so Dallas is Dallas is a character. He's a free spirit. He's the life of the party, class clown. That's kind of his personality. And but the days that he pitches, he's total opposite. He's super serious, militant, kind of like he's at war, and he won't talk to anybody except his catcher and his pitching coach. And you best just stay away from him. You know, just leave him alone, let him go pitch. So that's kind of his energy in the dugout is very serious, very stoic, very locked in. You know, I wasn't necessarily that way. I just was very laid back and kind of calm and nothing really got me too riled up. So the game's going on. I've talked Dallas, 100 times at this point in his career we played together all through the minors and everything. So, it's just another day. We're cruising along. As a catcher, especially at that age, I was probably 27, 28 years old at that time. I mean, you've been a part of a lot of no-hitter perfect games through 4, 5, 6 innings. I mean, that's happened a lot. They rarely ever finish, but, it's not rare to be in the 5th inning and have no hits. That's happened before. So, it was about the 4th or 5th. I realized he hadn't given up a hit, but, then again, I'm like, okay, well, it's Dallas. Like someone's going to get a hit eventually. We're the Oakland A's. It's a big ballpark. Dallas isn't a dominant major league pitcher at this point. I mean, he's a contact guy that's grinding his career along. And, but then the next thing he gets 3 to 6 more outs, and it's now the 6th or 7th, and you're looking like, man, he could do this. I didn't realize until around the 6th or 7th that it was actually a perfect game. I just thought it was a no-hitter, and I was sitting there in the dugout, and I'm looking at the scoreboard thinking no hits, and I started thinking, there hasn't been an error, and I don't think he's walked anybody. So that's when it like hit me. Is maybe like going, right after the top of the sixth. I'm sitting in there, and I'm like, he hasn't given up any base runners. So that's a different feeling, like a no hitter to a perfect game. In the baseball mind, that's no hitters are cool. Perfect games are like they don't happen. Like that never happens. So that's when kind of the nerves set in. To be honest with you, I was not nervous at all until I kind of realized it was a perfect game, and then I thought, oh gosh, like we gotta finish this thing. So 9 more outs. I didn't know if it would ever happen. I'm a backup catcher in the major leagues. I don't get to play every day. So the thought of me being in the lineup for a perfect game is like just astronomically not going to happen. It's like winning the lottery twice, And Dallas Braden was a left-handed pitcher who threw 88 miles per hour, who couldn't strike anybody out, and for him to throw a perfect game would just never happen. So it was a crazy day. I can't explain it to you. It was just meant to be. I think God just had his hand on us and gave us that day, and I'm glad he did, because it made a huge impact on my career. And it's something I can always, I was a backup catcher most of my career. I was never a superstar or anything in the big leagues, but I was involved in one of the most memorable moments in big league history, a perfect game on Mother's Day for a guy that lost his mom to cancer when he was 10 years old. I mean, who could write that? So,
and not to take this in a totally different direction, but not long ago, didn't Dallas say he was actually hungover that day?
Yeah, Dallas was hungover a lot of days.
I'm sure he was hungover the day after.
Yeah, no, he definitely was. Yeah, all his buddies. So it was a Sunday day game, right? And Dallas, they usually tried to not line Dallas's starts up on Sunday day games. You got to think he was a local guy, grew up about an hour away. All of his buddies would come in town and everything, and so Fridays and Saturday nights, Dallas was having a good time. But yeah, he was maybe not. Let's say he was not at full capacity that morning or that day. He was actually late. He showed up late. I think he missed the first couple rounds of BP. Anyway, he was running late the whole day, but he made history. So
who called the game? Did you call the game? Was he just nodding? Was he just going with it the whole time, or was he?
Yeah, I called the game. He shook me off twice, I think, is what we say. I haven't gone back and actually looked at how many times he shook me off, but we kind of joke that he only shook me off like twice, and one of them was a foul ball. So, but yeah, I had been calling his games for so long, and we knew each other. Like the comfort level was the best it could be. Probably, we got drafted the same year, played all the way through the minor leagues together. I knew exactly how to set batters up with him and use his stuff the right way, and so he threw that perfect game. And then his very next start, I think he threw a complete game against the Angels. Maybe only gave up a run or so, but he had a good role there. So he was having a great season.
God, I would have retired after that. I would be like, I'm done. I'm going out on top, and that's it. So when you call a game, Landon. Yeah, I know a lot of we have a large audience, about 6,500 or so people a day watch it or listen to this program, and they love this stuff, and so it's a lot easier for us to get guys like you to explain it, and where they'll listen when you're catching and you're calling a game, or if you're calling it from the dugout, if you're pitching coach or head coach, whoever's calling the game, what is important, and I mentioned something earlier, and this is just a very, 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 very minor example, and this is not to go down any type of rabbit hole with the Gamecocks or anything, but one of the things last night in the ball game that South Carolina was not doing well on the mound is that they were not using both sides of the plate, and it was just off speed. Well, eventually it's going to get hit, and if you can't throw a fastball for a strike and you can't use both sides of the plate, you can't pitch, not at this level. So, what is important in your mind, aside from understanding pitchers? I'm strictly talking about you using an entire plate and knowing how to do it and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into that, but here's I'll give you a little snapshot if I can. So for me, the most important pitch in baseball is strike one. It's not a fastball or a curveball or a splitter. The most important pitch is strike one. Just get ahead in the count. That gives you an opportunity to open some things up, to do some things differently. So ideally, you want to get ahead in the count. That might be an 0-0 breaking ball to get ahead in the count. If you think this guy's ambushing a fastball, Maybe you start him with an breaking ball to get ahead. But most likely you're trying to well locate a fastball low in the zone, middle opposite, middle outside part of the plate. Get ahead, then you can do some stuff. For me, if it's a guy that likes to lean out over the plate and get his arms extended, a big power guy, like a Petrie for South Carolina. Like if I see a type hitter like him, I'd want to get ahead, and then I would want to go hard in, like off the plate in. And I'm okay if we miss in for a ball. I want to move his head, move his feet, move his hips. I want him, having to come off that plate a little bit and realize that, hey, we can blow you up in here if we want to or need to. But what that does, you might get a swing and a foul ball and weak contact. You might get a called strike, but most likely you're going to get him jumping back, moving back. All that does is open up everything else outside. Now he can't lean over the plate on you. So now you have a lot of options moving forward from there. And then it's just like it's like a game. You're trying to not repeat things that you've done previously. You're trying to keep him off balance and don't let him know what's coming, but you constantly want to play that tilt game. So the tilt game is big power guys. You want to up and in, soft down and away. You want them moving their body or head away from the plate and then finishing back something soft away that they can't lean over and get. The other thing I would tell you, I think you can create different molds for certain hitters. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a speedy lefty contact hitter. All right, he's the leadoff guy or 9-hole or 2-hole for these other teams. There's Brett Gardner's, or we could sit here and name 100 of them. Speedy lefty contact hitter. Well, there's a certain type of way to pitch most of those guys, and it doesn't matter what the name on their jersey is. Most of them have the same holes, they have the same weaknesses, and they have the same strengths. So there's certain pitches and certain ways to set those type of hitters up. And once you learn that, you can use that against any hitter on any team. You see that little contact lefty come up there. Okay, I've got a mold for him. I know how to attack that guy. Big power righty like a Messina or a Petrie. Those guys have a mold of how to attack those guys. And so that's what I learned in my career is as I went on, you learn new hitters and new guys, and you figure out their weaknesses. And I would just always plug those things away and say, okay, I'm going to see other hitters just like this guy down the road in my career, and I'm going to remember this situation. So that helps me pitch the next guy. That's how you call a good game, in my opinion. And for me, I was fortunate. I have a photographic memory. That's one of the things that God has gifted me with, and it helped me in school, academically. It's definitely helped me in sports. I can remember things. I can remember a pitch from 2 years ago in a certain count, and that now I fast forward to this situation, and I have a similar count, similar situation. I can remember the pitch that I used 2 years ago to get this guy, and I'll use it again right now. And I've just been fortunate to be that way my whole career, and that helped me call games. So.
Yeah, it's a special talent. Not everybody can do it. Everybody thinks they can, Landon, but they can't. Landon Powell, head baseball coach at national championship winning North Greenville University, looking to go back-to-back this year. We have kept him around for a long time, and we're going to keep him a little bit longer. One of the things that you have been so open about now for what, Landon, 13 years is Izzy, your daughter, one of your twin daughters. Of course, you're the father to Holden and Ellie. How old? Ellie is 13.
She's 10.
Or 10. And Holden's. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's 10, and there's 11 showing some photos. There's my family.
Yeah,
so
and
Holden's actually a little bigger than that now. He's all of a sudden hit puberty and shot up like crazy. But he's 13. He's in 7th grade, and Ellie is 10. She's in 4th grade. And, and you mentioned Izzy. There's Izzy. I keep a picture of her on my desk here, so she's right here with me all the time. So.
For those that don't know the story of Izzy, and obviously we're not going to make you go through and tell that whole story. There, you can Google it, of course she is so much inspiration for your family. I remember when all this happened. I've got twin little girls. They're 4, and they have some health issues that we have been going through, and we will continue until they're at least 8 years old. So I think about you often and what your family has gone through. With Izzy, but I know it changed you as a father, clearly. How has it changed you as a coach? How's it changed you as as a husband? How has it changed you just every day you wake up, the way that you go about your life?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question. So I would say, to simplify it, Izzy, we had twin daughters. To people can look it up in Google. ESPN did a great thing at E60 called the Backup Catcher. That's probably a great way to learn about Izzy and our story. But we had twin daughters.
Tom Rinaldi. I bet doing that with Tom Rinaldi, you were like, oh boy,
he's a first class guy. We spent a whole day with him, and he couldn't have been more first class. So I have an utmost respect for him. Twin daughters were born. Our daughter Izzy was born with a very rare genetic disease called HLH, hemophagocytic lymphocytic histiocytosis, and basically her immune system tried to kill her blood every day, her bone marrow, her blood cells, and at a little over 5 months old, she passed away, and so that obviously impacted our family in a massive way and changed us forever. Anytime, you lose a child, there's a lot of people that have lost children, and the pain of that, for me, she died in my arms. I watched her take her last breath. That's something that it will be with you the rest of your life. You can't shake it. You can't get rid of it. And it's a very hard thing to have happen, but also the time we had with her and the story around her and what the community and our church and our family and people that rallied around us. All of that impacted our lives in a major way. And, my wife and I are better people because of Izzy and going through that. It's made me a stronger person. I think it's made me a better husband, a better father. It's definitely made me a better coach. So the biggest thing I could take away from it is that, tomorrow is not guaranteed, and to make the most out of today and to take every opportunity you get and live it to the fullest and enjoy it. And so when I coach these college guys, I try to be present and live that. And, here we are at the end of the season, and, we may not play much longer. Hopefully we play for another month. We might only play 2 more games. But I know that these guys are going to give everything they have every single day they show up, and that's kind of the MO we have here. And I think some of that came from my experience with Izzy, to never take things for granted and never get complacent and live life to the fullest each day, but also to really love those people around you and make sure they know you love them, because you never know when you're not going to be with them anymore. So, I think my players, a lot of coaches, and this is just my opinion from my experience, a lot of coaches put up a facade or a wall. They have a hard time being very personal with their players. And I think a lot of times it's because of the role of a coach, the authoritative figure, the authoritative role. It's hard sometimes to take those walls down and be, to be on the same level as your player, to like show them love or compassion or like give them your true emotions. And so with my daughter, I kind of learned that, that I'm not going to hide my emotions. I'm going to be who I am. And so my players, I think, see that in me. I'm very authentic and real, I believe, with them. I tell them how I feel, whether it's good or bad. I make sure they know I love them. I make sure they know when I'm upset and mad at them, and I have to kick them in the butt. And it's a family. So I treat my players like my own kids. And I think that causes our relationships to be a lot closer and a lot more tightly bound. And that helps us on the field for sure. They trust me. They know that when I'm telling them something or coaching them on something, that it's coming from a very authentic and real place. But I'm not telling them this so that we can win more games necessarily. I'm telling this because I love them and I want them to get the most out of their bodies and their careers and their opportunities. It's not about me. It's about them and them reaching their full potential. So I think that's a very important part of the coaching puzzle that coaches sometimes miss, is they have to build that relationship first so that the player will truly believe in them and trust them. And a lot of coaches maybe miss that. They keep that distance from their players because they don't want to be too emotional or connected, because you have to make hard decisions as a coach. And when you're really emotionally connected, sometimes it's hard to make those decisions. But I'd rather have to make hard decisions and be really tied in and close to my players than to miss out on all those relationships. So
just out of curiosity, dad to dad, father to father, you and Allison, as parents, how over the years have you talked about Izzy with Ellie and Holden, your son and daughter? How do y'all as a family carry her every day in your lives?
We talk about her all the time. So we have pictures of her around our house. Our daughter Ellie is there. You have twin daughters. I don't know what ages they are. You said 4, I think, maybe.
Yeah, 4 going on 14.
Yeah, I hear you. So as they get older, obviously we didn't get to have Izzy that long around, but with Ellie, she feels this connection to Izzy all the time. Like she can feel her, she can sense her. There's this twin magic that they just know about it. And so that's been both good and hard with Ellie, because Ellie feels like she's missing a piece of her a lot of times. She's opened up to us about that and told us that she feels like she's missing something or missing a piece. And that's really hard to hear, and you don't know how to help her cope through that. But at the same time, she talks about Izzy all the time. She tells us she sees her in dreams, or she'll hear her talking to her, and that kind of stuff always kind of warms your heart. Like we don't know what's going on in the world. I'm a Christian. I believe what I believe, and I believe people have free will to believe what they want. But all I do know is that this world is way bigger and more complicated than I will ever understand. But it does warm my heart when I hear Ellie tell a story about how she saw Izzy in her dream last night, and Izzy was doing this or that. And it's like, I don't know if that's real or not, but that's amazing either way. And Ellie and Izzy are there's still a connection there, even though Izzy's not with us anymore. Holden, he's much more shy about it, or maybe quiet about it. But we do a birthday thing every year. We release balloons on our birthday, and that's always we have all of our friends from church and family members and cousins and everybody. They come over. We get a bunch of pink balloons. They all write a message on each balloon to her, and then we release the balloons up in the air, and they go off into the sky. And so that's something we do every year. But we definitely talk about it a lot. I get a chance to speak a lot. I get asked to go to churches or FCAs or whatever and speak, and then normally I go and give my testimony, and I talk about Izzy because she's a big part of my life and my testimony. So that's therapy for me in some ways, but it's also an honor to talk about her and to have her spirit and her life be continued on, and the things that she went through and how that impacted our family and our community. She was an amazing little girl, so we never shy away from talking about her.
Isabel. The name Isabel.
Isabel, Isabel was what we named her, but she went by Izzy. We called her Izzy, Izzzy.
Which, for those that don't know, in Hebrew, Isabel, the meaning of the name Isabel is devoted to God.
Yep.
Which is something that is really unbelievable, or believable, however you want to actually look at that.
That's right.
Landon, did you always know that you wanted to coach after playing?
I kind of did, yeah. My dad was a coach, so he coached high school football and baseball at Apex High School, and then got into umpiring, and then I met Coach Tanner and Coach Toman, and they were just big mentors in my life, and I always looked up to both of them in major ways. And then when I was playing, I was coaches, whoever, teammates, they would always say I was a coach on the field. I had that leadership skill, I guess, and so I kind of thought I would maybe be a good coach one day, but I didn't know. When I got done at my end of my career, my last year playing was in AAA with the Mets. I got sent to AAA. I was the last guy cut in spring training, and they sent me to AAA. I was in Las Vegas. Me and Reese Havens were on the same team there.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun being with Reese, but it was not much fun being in AAA in Vegas, I can promise you. Vegas is a fun place to visit for 3 days, but you don't want to live there. It's miserable to live there. But I had a coach named Wally Backman, and he's YouTube famous for his ejections. But Wally was a great man. He was a great manager. I had a great time getting to know him, and he kind of told me that I should be a coach. Like that year, he's told me several times, like, you should be a coach. You should manage. Like, you're going to be good at this. And that was kind of the year I was deciding. Izzy had passed away before spring training. I knew this was probably my last year. I was just grinding it out, and I was ready to go home. And I was trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Am I going to sell insurance? Or am I going to start a business? Am I going to coach? Like, what am I going to do? And Wally was one of those kind of voices that was telling me you should coach, that I would be a great servant to the game. And I had a lot of coaches that came before me that were servants to the game, that paid it forward, and I think made this game better, including Coach Tanner. And so I felt like if I could do that same thing, what an honor to the game that would be to just do my part and try to pay it forward. And I love the game of baseball. It's been a part of my life since I was a little tiny kid. And I'm grateful I chose this path because I'm loving it. I enjoy what I do every day. I don't feel like I go to work. I feel like I'm going to do what I love, and I could be happy sitting right here doing the same thing for the next 20 years. And I don't need the fame or the fortune or any of that kind of stuff. I just love coaching and being on a baseball field, and I love watching these kids kind of fulfill their dreams and do things that they've always wanted to do. So I think I got the best job in the world.
Landon, we'll let you run on this one. Just about the University of South Carolina itself. Obviously, you played and did everything that you did there, achieved under Coach Tanner. Describe South Carolina baseball. It's where it is. Where I guess let me put it different. The word identity gets thrown around a lot in the world today, Landon. Isn't that interesting? How would you describe and identify the University of South Carolina's baseball program in the grand scheme of college baseball in this country?
Man, I think it's a premier program, and I think that it's really hard to stay on top all the time. Let's just look at any sport. Show me a team that's just stayed on top nonstop and never fallen. I mean, Alabama football has had an incredible run, but now they're maybe slipping a little bit. And people are talking about they're not going to be great this year. The Patriots football, New England football had an incredible run, but now they're struggling. UConn basketball was untouchable forever and ever, right? But then comes along Dawn Staley. So it's hard to stay on top. But I think South Carolina is an upper echelon program that everyone will always consider one of those top-notch programs. We've had a couple down years that everybody, included the coaches, the players, they know that's not to par with what we expect as Gamecock fans. But, but here we are this year. We've been a top 10 program all year, and dealing with injuries and maybe guys going in some slumps. That's part of sports. That's part of baseball. But they've still put together a great resume, and I'm encouraged about what they're doing this year. I think they're right back on track. I was texting with Wingo not too long ago, and I was like, man, this is South Carolina baseball. You guys look like the team that you're supposed to be. All of my guys that built this program and came before you guys, like, we feel like this is what it's supposed to be, and we're happy to see you guys back on top. So I know they've had a really tough go late, but that's sports. That's how it goes sometimes. I mean, you can't win them all. You can't stay on top the entire season. It's really hard to do that. But I think about, there's a saying Yogi Berra used to always say, and I think it's very pertinent that a lot of fans, I wish fans understood, because I know fans are hard and Gamecock fans expect to win, and I expect to win. I mean, so losing is not fun. But Yogi Berra used to say, in Major League Baseball, every team, every single team, first place or last place, they're going to win 50 games, they're going to lose 50 games. It's those other 50 that decide what they are, and that's just baseball. You're not going to go 56-0. And South Carolina's had an incredible season this year. They have the talent and the ability. They've had some injuries. Once they get everybody healthy, I really believe they're going to be making some noise in the postseason, and I hope to see them back in Omaha. Yeah, Omaha pretty well, and I know there's a lot of people who'd like to make that trip back out there. It's been a little while, and they certainly have had their struggles in the last couple of weeks. But this team's good, Landon. We know that. They've got good pitching, and you know what? They got a pretty good catcher too. Cole Messina's come a long way. Yep, he's a very good player. I think he's doing a great job.
Don't love the hockey mask and don't love the mullet thing, but outside of that, yeah, you can tell it's different when he's back there, and that was one of the things when we were talking about earlier, just catchers and how it's different when you get somebody you're comfortable with that understands you and all that type of stuff. Hopefully, everybody caught that.
I saw him play a lot in high school, and I really the thing I loved about him is not necessarily his bat speed or power or arm strength. He has a competitive fire about him. He is that. He wants to win. He wants to compete. It's not fake. Like, he's a bulldog. And that's when I recruit. When I recruit, I look for those kind of things in players. I'm looking for those intangibles that, like, you can just tell certain players have that it factor. Some guys are front runners. They're pretty boys. They're whatever it is. And then there's those other guys. They're dogs. And Cole Messina, I remember the first time I saw him, I think he was a sophomore in high school, and you could tell right away he's a dog, and he was going to fight and compete all the time. And he's doing that at the college level. So I'm glad he's wearing the Gamecock uniform.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Hopefully they can start putting it together tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, at 7:30 in Tigerville, that is when North Greenville will host either Mount Olive or Georgia Southwestern. Again, North Greenville, the number 1 seed, the best record in the country. Landon, y'all sit at 44-8 entering the Southeast Regional this weekend. And if you win that, you'll get the winner of the Newberry Regional. And hats off to the Wolves and what they've done with that program down there as well. It's outstanding for our state with baseball and how it's all really come together. We kept you for 45 minutes longer than we planned on keeping you. But I mentioned to JC, who actually had to step out for some emergency work stuff, or else he would have been in here. And Phil, before I was texting them, I said, we got to get right on time because I really have a laundry list of stuff that I'd like to get through with Landon. You and I have actually never officially spoken and met, although all the people you know almost and all the people I know almost are our same friends, which is just unbelievable. I mean, I've talked to Drew and Soup and Kip and all these guys about you. I don't even know how many times, and Smoke and everybody in between. And for whatever reason, we've never been in the same room, but hopefully that can change soon. We're pulling for you, always have and always will. If you ever need anything, you now have my number, so you can text anytime or call me, Landon. But, hopefully y'all win another national championship. We're going to continue to monitor everything. And, if you be willing to here a little bit further down the line in the playoffs, we'll get you back on and let you update everybody on what's going on so we can get the great Palmetto State behind you, okay?
Would love that. It's an honor to be on with you. I really appreciate you having me, and I always love talking to fellow Gamecocks and thinking about some fond memories, some things I don't always get to think and talk about too much. So it's been a pleasure, and I would love to come on anytime you need me. So,
well, after the season, we'll get like a round robin type thing. We'll see if Drew and Bush or Soup or Kip or whoever, see if we can get all of y'all in together. And we won't say anything. We'll just let y'all
sit back and listen, right?
Let y'all tell the stories of Omaha. And
you might want to have, so we can, does it go out live or can we edit things? Because you might want to put that on like a delay or something. But no, that would be a blast. That would be a lot of fun.
It is live, but it's okay. I mean, well, I tell you what, if we plug Coach Tanner in, how much will we need to edit it?
Whew. Coach Tanner probably wouldn't want to sit in that one. He I don't think he'd want that. No. So he can't punish run us anymore. He doesn't have that authority over us anymore. So we might have some things to say. So no, that would be a ton of fun. I'd love to do that.
That's what's funny is watching him dressed up on TV, and then I'm like, oh, nobody ever heard him in the dugout, did they?
Man.
Old potty.
And I probably have more than most because I've known him a lot longer, so I can tell you some stories, but
yeah.
I won't. I'll there's a code. There's certain things you don't talk about, right? So
that's right.
What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. So.
Usually,
right?
Yeah, it's supposed to. These days, everybody pulls a cell phone out, so they can make sure that they're treated equally or whatever. Landon, thank you. Go get them this weekend, brother. We'll
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
You got it.
Yeah,
there you go, Landon
you.
Powell, the best to ever do it behind the plate at South Carolina, and he has turned into one of the best coaches in college baseball at North Greenville University. Again, 7:30 tomorrow night. If you live in the upstate and you can get out there and watch them play, they'll get Mount Olive or Georgia Southwestern, and the way that bracket sets up is the 4 and the 5, Mount Olive and Georgia Southwestern will play at 3:30 tomorrow. And this is what I love about this bracket. I've always found it interesting that the winner gets the number 1 seed. Like, why punish the winner? Punish the loser. Well, that's what they're doing here. The loser has to turn around and play tomorrow night the best team in the tournament, North Greenville, and then the winner will advance and wait that. So go Crusaders, and anybody that was really looking forward to bitching and moaning about something else or complaining about running backs, I apologize to all of you that we kept Landon for an hour and a half almost, it seems like. But, if you couldn't enjoy that conversation, then probably got to find something else to do. That was as good as it gets, and he is the best of the best. There's no question. So quite an honor to have Landon Powell on our program. Phil, I have no idea how we're going to get all this stuff in, but we will hit a timeout now. We'll see if we can't get JC back, and we still got 30 minutes to go. We are painted garnet and black by a couple of painters right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a karaoke partner, I can tell you, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But what I do have is a very specific set of skills. Hang up now, and your IT nightmares will continue. But stay on the line, and I will find you. And when I find you, I will fix it. Thanks. I think I have the wrong number. I'm trying to call Matt at Heritage Digital. He has a one-price, low-cost turnkey solution for all my IT needs, and I'm sick and tired of my IT guy. So, yeah, 843-699-1001. This is 1002. Oh, well, thanks anyway. Don't be taken by some IT dude that talks a big game. Give Matt at Heritage Digital a call, 843-699-1001.
Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington. Half-hour, hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer.
Hey Gamecock fans, it's Evan Stone from Gamecock Baseball. A couple of painters paint the show garnet and black every day and get the job done right at a fair cost. Go to letmepaintsomething.com for information and an estimate. Go Cox.
You heard Evan Stone, Gamecock fans. 10% off for military repeat customers or mention the show. Interior, exterior painting, fencing, cabinet staining, concrete painting, popcorn ceiling removal, and more. 803-522-6832. LetMePaintSomething.com.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. The home of Oventon, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hey everyone, this is Jack Mahoney from Gamecock Baseball, and Inside the Gamecocks, the show is teed up every day by travelingcountryclub.com. So if y'all love golf, make sure you guys go check out their awesome membership options, and go Cox.
Welcome to travelingcountryclub.com, your modern golf club experience. Hey folks, this is Michael Manus, former Gamecock golfer, inviting you to play more golf with a membership to travelingcountryclub.com. With over 40 courses across the Carolinas, our membership provides you with an affordable way to enjoy a club-like golf experience. From the mountains to the coast, we offer golf courses that will challenge all types of golfers, no matter your handicap level or level of play. Plus, we offer unique membership benefits not seen anywhere else as part of Traveling Country Club. In July, we're excited to bring to you the 3rd annual Plunder on Pawleys 2-day golf tournament, with rounds played at Caledonia and True Blue golf courses in the heart of Pawleys Island. Head to travelingcountryclub.com to register for that event, and it is not exclusive to TCC members, but to become one, you can sign up and bring to life your golf game. Tee it up with Traveling Country Club, travelingcountryclub.com, travelingcountryclub.com, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Zachary Davis from Carolina Hoops, and you're watching the show with JB, JC, and Phil. Go Cox.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show presented to you right now by us and live from the Sinorama Studios.
Holy moly.
I'm all confused after that, man. I don't even know. What time is it? What hour are we in? Where's
She
JC?
touched my
I don't
leg.
know.
Yeah, I have no idea what has happened to JC. I certainly hope he's okay, but
I would imagine so. Yeah,
I know he had to jump off
call.
and deal with some
No
stuff,
color.
but yeah, we are teed up by travelingcountryclub.com. It's the coolest club in the Carolinas. Almost 45 golf courses to play between North and South Carolina. It's not a sales pitch. I don't know how else to say this. If you play golf and you're not in this club, I don't really know what you're doing. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of ridiculous. Like it's a steal of all
You
steals.
play more than one round a month.
Yeah,
because I turned one of my friends onto this. He was like, "Man, if you play more than a round a month at a decent golf course, you need this.
Yeah,
it will save you money."
Yeah, it's the steal of steals.
Mhm.
Yeah, we encourage all of you to make sure you jump in on that. Again, really a lot of thanks to Landon Powell for joining us in our Born to Crow Carolina conversation this week in conjunction with Michael Haney and his song Born to Crow. And of course, he wrote that song for the Just a Chicken book series. So all Gamecocks are kind of intertwined here, and really, he had a lot of good stuff to say. For those of you, and I'm glad I didn't know if he would want to get that deep into what happened with Izzy. I remember when they were going through that. Like I said, Landon and I have been around each other, never actually sat and talked. It's crazy to even think about that. I can't even I still don't to this day understand how that's even happened. But I remember when they were going through that, and God, and I just wasn't sure how much he would want to get into it. But the Powells have been very open, and he did mention, and if you have not seen this, if you've not seen the E60 interview that they did, Tom Rinaldi makes everybody cry. He's always done this. But it really is good. And I actually went back and watched it a couple of days ago. I hadn't seen it in a while. So if you Google it, Landon Powell E60, it'll come up. And it's pretty tough to watch. But they've done an amazing job. So pretty good. Yeah. Amazing. As for football, South Carolina, of course, yesterday did miss out on Logan Diggs, and they also missed out on Sharko, who's headed to Kentucky. And we're really hoping JC can kind of fill in the gaps from here. Here's what I know, and had a feeling this was going to happen with Diggs. Wasn't really sure on the Sharko situation. I don't have a lot of information on that. But the Diggs thing, that was the fact that Carolina had even gotten it to where they got it was actually really remarkable. My source on that was not shocked necessarily to see him take the visit. The shocking part was how far that visit went with Diggs and his family, and the fact that it really became a kind of a tug and pull type situation of, man, are we really going to do this? Are we really going to go to Columbia, South Carolina and go play for the Gamecocks? And quite frankly, if it wasn't as far away as it is, I don't know that he wouldn't be playing for South Carolina right now. Very similar to how Carolina has landed some players in the past that, as much as everybody wants to convince themselves that they came and played here because that was choice number one, it was really because it was their home state school and they wanted to be a little bit closer to home, even though they might have liked someplace a little bit better for whatever reason that may be. So, they missed out on him. It's difficult to read things like, fire this coach and that coach, Hardesty, blah, blah, blah. They weren't going to get him. And the fact that they even, and the source that I have on this, as a matter of fact, Phil, said that actually Montario Hardesty was one of the main reasons why he was even still considering South Carolina as hard as he was.
Right.
He wanted to play for him. But it was just too much to come from Baton Rouge. So, take that for what it's worth. But so they got to go find another running back. They're going to find one. And they'll go from there. It's just a matter of when it lands. But yesterday, 0 for 2.
Yeah. He did get a preferred walk-on transfer from Mercer, though. So another big O lineman. Yep. To block for whoever's going to run. Here's the thing. I think the longer this goes, the more pressure gets put on, obviously, the running backs that are in the room right now. But I think the pressure on DJ Braswell increases and mounts. I mean, this guy's he's going to be relied on a bit more than he probably figured he would. I don't think he's going to be, if they don't find another one, he's probably not going to be able to redshirt at all. You're going to need him just because we know this is an injury prone position and he's going to have to get out there and get it. But I like the kid, and I guess one of the biggest things that we think about too now is it's kind of all on logins. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to, you got to make the best with what you have. And we'll be able to see how he adjusts to, doing more with less.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're right. Braswell's going to have to come in and play. I mean, that's the way that it seems, at least at this point. But, there's still a lot of confidence in that building that they're going to sign a running back, and they will. They're going to sign one. And who's that going to be? I don't know. But they took their shot with what they thought was the best available running back, and they didn't get him. And so we'll kind of see where it goes from here. But nonetheless, I don't think, again, this is just my source. I don't think that there's a lot of hanging heads in that building today because they didn't land either one of those guys yesterday. They have a plan that they're going to continue to work through in order to go get one. So, we'll kind of see what happens here, and we'll go from there. In the Nana Sports chat box here, Xavier said, since I had kids, I can't watch that kind of stuff. I'll take your word for it, JB, obviously referencing Landon's story. I mean, it's tough, but it's Landon's one of our own. So if you get a chance to watch it, make sure you check it out. Clint said, I'm no fan of Hardesty, but I don't blame him for not getting Diggs. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. Fair. Very fair there. Absolutely. He's not the one to blame for this at all. Craig had to go to the bathroom because he didn't want to get in trouble for crying at work, which is understandable. Ryan says Hardesty a joke. You're entitled to your opinion. Corey said Sumo is a bigger miss. Obviously talking about Sharko, the kid from NC State. Yeah, I think that one is certainly a. I would like to know. You never really know, but I would like to know if they were waiting on Diggs and then that led him to somewhere else, or it's very possible, Phil, that maybe he just wanted to go somewhere else. Kentucky, of course, just lost both of their running backs in Smoke and Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I keep forget that name, but yeah.
Yeah.
You just hate to lose anything to Kentucky, period. Even if it's an off-season battle for a recruit, or a transfer. But I mean, we don't know, JB. It could be NIL. It could be, maybe Stoops told him he'd guarantee him playing time. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah. You don't know. And the portal situation, you never know anymore. People get in and out of the portal for reasons we just can't even begin to explain. Yes, some of it has to do with NIL. A lot of it also doesn't. So we'll just have to kind of see where they go from here. Michael says, I told the board I'm assuming you're talking about the message boards.
Probably message board. Yeah, got to be.
That Diggs was always going to LSU and got blank on. Yeah, message boards are so toxic. It's, how many times I've just put your phone in your pocket and walk away.
Turn it off. I know.
the people that won't say the things to your face that they can't wait to type behind a keyboard.
They love
that's the world we live in now. Xavier said Diggs went to play at home and play for a coach who recruited him out of high school. I don't blame him. I hate losing Charco to Kentucky, though. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's certainly. And I like that kid from NC State, no doubt. So we'll see who they go after, and we'll see who they get. BRC says maybe Braswell will be the next Quinshad Judkins. Maybe he will be. Maybe he'll be the next. I don't know. Walter Payton. Let's go with Walter Payton.
You can go Payton. Yeah, that's right.
He'll be the next Walter Payton. How about that?
George Rogers.
Be the next Big George. Now that would be something. That would be something. All right, let's.
Bill, no, that was not a bug on my head. It was a little piece of the foam on my headphones. Good catch, though.
Now, it would be funny if you did splatter a bug on your head. That would make this thing full circle. No question. All right, let's hit a. Is this our final timeout?
We technically have two, but we could probably get away with one. Yeah,
let's. We'll squeeze in our last one here. We'll make it up tomorrow. That's okay. I think we'll get away with that. So we'll squeeze in our final timeout of the afternoon. We are powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston. Hats off to my main man, Hayne, who yesterday went and bought two from Michelle and her team at Electric Bikes of Charleston. Really, really, really appreciate that. I know they do. And we also know there's been actually quite a few of you that have gone over there and given your business to Electric Bikes of Charleston or Charleston Fitness Equipment, both owned by the Wilkins family. They are Gamecock fans. One of the things we try to do around here with our partners is make sure that we're speaking to the blue collar folks in America and in this fan base and in our state. And these guys do it as well as anybody. So we really appreciate all of you who give your business to our partners, and we appreciate our partners for giving their business to us. Means a lot. And then we can do things like have Landon Powell on for an hour like we did earlier today. So really appreciate that. Appreciate Electric Bikes of Charleston. We appreciate you. And we also appreciate this quick timeout. We'll be right back.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the village at Creekside. All of her listings in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan. And many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Coach O here. And when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight off the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's Porch. It's award-winning. It'll melt in your mouth. It's good on a cracker. It's good in a bowl. It's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer. Go Tiger.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
This is Cole Messina from the Yardcocks. Electric Bikes of Charleston powers Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Be sure to check them out online or in Mount Pleasant. Go Gamecocks.
I got so much stuff going on all around me all the time, man. I'm sitting there, I'm laughing at something, and like, we still don't know where JC is. We have no idea what's happened to him. I don't think I've ever done a show where my co-host like literally vanished in the middle of the show. No text, no call. And it's like I got catfished. Like, what happened here? Now, I used to host a morning show in Charleston where I had a co-host that didn't occasionally show up.
That just didn't show up, right? Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what, man. And then blame me when he got fired. I was like, I mean, okay. All right. Yeah, we had a 6 a.m. show. This was before I got moved to midday on ESPN. And I'm not going to say who it is because I have a lot of respect for him. And he's done really well in his career. He's in a major market, and he's done an outstanding job. But we had a 6 a.m. morning show on our sister station, which was 1450 a.m. at the time. And they were just, I'd get a text at like 5:55 that he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So you're on one side and I'm on the other side, and I have the controls, so I have to host this and produce it and take phone calls and look up stuff on the internet and do all these other things. Oh, yeah, that was really hard. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, that is the hardest thing I've ever done professionally. Literally hosting a show for 3 hours, like it's radio. You know, you can't just not talk, right?
Right.
And
we can't.
And at that point in time, we had 2-minute commercial breaks. We had 4 an hour. So you're talking about 52 minutes of content you got to fill for 3 hours. So, you know, basically almost 3 hours of content. It's 6 a.m. Nothing's happened in the day yet.
Yeah.
And
there's not very many callers at 6 a.m., are there?
Yeah. I mean, I was begging people to call. I mean, like, literally, dude, I don't care. Call me and tell me about what you're eating. I mean, like, you had to get so creative. I was on the air, and you couldn't see me back then. It was just radio, trying to find stuff on the internet, like audio to play for the night before, and texting anybody and everybody I knew to see if I could fill a guest in. Like, we'd always have a guest scheduled, but I'd try to find another 2 or 3.
Right.
Dude. And you're doing a whole board that has 10,000 buttons on it. It was brutal, man. Brutal.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than what it is that I do to get this thing off and running. Although I am glad we don't have a
brutal.
We don't do telephone calls. Jeez.
No. Yeah, I mean, and that was the other thing. You didn't know who was calling, you know. So you like, but if somebody's trying to call you, you can't answer the phone on the air. Like, you can't. So you'd take, in order to take a call, you'd have to be able to play something while you're taking the call. So you'd like, okay, take the calls during the break and then put them on hold and bring them back from break and try to carry a conversation on with them. You had to be really creative. And I can say this publicly because he can't do a damn thing to me. But I worked for an absolute idiot who, like, literally could have cared less. So he could have done something to me then, but now nothing.
Can't do nothing.
Not a damn
That's
thing.
Right. Can't touch me now. That's right.
Can't touch this. Let's see here on the Nana Sports chat box. Michael says, I know that women's basketball isn't y'all's groove, but I really think Chloe Kitts is going to be the real deal, and I think she needed a red shirt last year. No, yeah, for sure. She could play, and she's on the U19 national team that just got selected. So, yeah, hats off to her. I agree. And then he goes on to say, I know, JB, I know who you are. My bad. I hope that's good.
Y'all know who we all are at this point.
Yeah. I certainly appreciate that. Trung says, happy belated birthday, Philly cheesesteak.
Well, thank you, Trung. Thank you. I've heard all the nicknames. Phil's an easy Phil. I like classic Phil, though. That's the new one. It's not a play on the name. It's nice. Classic Phil.
I mean, I would have left that up there, but I wanted the Sarge to be behind me for Landon.
Well, of course,
because that's where he played. I said it multiple times today, and I mean it. I mean, Ryan Bordenick, Brandon Pack, Whitaker he mentioned Whitaker's senior year. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Trent, Endo, Griner. I mean, look what Messina's doing right now. I mean, my gosh. I mean, South Carolina has had some unbelievable catchers over the years. And Brandon Pack was, man, he was good. He was so good. None of them were as good as Landon. It wasn't even close. He was, and we could have really gone into like a lot more of that stuff. And I hope everybody enjoyed kind of like the baseball talk. I was trying to remove myself from it as much as I can. I hope that didn't come across wrong to anybody, but certainly wanted to make sure that we could kind of engage a little bit back and forth to have the conversation, the ins and outs of catching and the art of it. Really wanted him to explain it because he's Landon Powell. But gosh, Phil, I remember watching him, in high school, and that was who I tried to be. The way he did things, even from just a receive. I used to catch the ball and hand it underneath my leg and just toss it back to the pitcher fluidly, and people always made fun of me for it. But I got that from him.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? It had nothing to do with being cool. It had everything to do. It was just a mental flow thing. It was how I threw the ball back to make sure I hit him in the chest every time. Instead of, for whatever reason, just taking it out of my glove and tossing it right back, I always had to go underneath my legs. It was so weird. But but like just body angle and how Landon framed pitches. Landon was never a puller or a tugger. He beat the ball to the spot. He always got out around it. He framed with his body, if anybody knows what that means. He never showed up an umpire. He did all the things the right way that made it so fluid back there. And so if you didn't want to be Landon Powell, and you were a catcher, I'm not really sure who you could find that would be better than him. As an example, he was the best catcher in college baseball for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it only goes to show that, you got to be good to play in the league. So that kind of says it all. And then to catch a perfect game,
yeah, well,
there's only been 23 of those.
Yeah, exactly. And
in the
they were
ball era, right? Yeah.
they were the 19th. And so there's been 4 since then.
It hasn't happened since 2012.
Yeah, that started a run of them, which was amazing, And in that conversation, again, if you missed the conversation, please go back and listen to it. And I want you to tell all your friends about it. It's about Landon and our Born to Crow series. I hope you enjoy this thing. We're trying to get creative with you. That's why one of the questions was, who called the game? Did you call it or did he call it?
That's right. Yeah, was he called? Yeah, yeah.
and he said he got shaken off twice. So, and Dallas Braden was hungover.
Right. Yeah. Not to mention.
But all right, we got an update on JC here. He's been having to deal with some work stuff. Pretty important work stuff, it appears, as well. So maybe it's good news. I'll find out what it is here in a minute. Tomorrow's Thursday. Thank God. I have no idea what we have on the docket tomorrow. I can't even think past an hour from now. But I know this. It'll be good.
It'll be fun. Yeah. Chris Phillips, that's it. So high energy.
I think
it's Chris Phillips. I don't think we had to reschedule this week. Anyway, we'll get our stuff together and see y'all tomorrow at 11.
Yeah, that sounds good. As the music takes us out here, Xavier Xavier said, all jokes aside, that was one of the best interviews you guys have ever had. Certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
It's the interviewee that does it, or is that would be Landon, right? The interviewee. I'm the interviewer. Right. We're the interviewers.
Yes, the subject.
Okay, yeah. It's the person that makes it, not us. So certainly appreciate
the storytelling very well, JB. That's the good thing, You know how to get in and the storytelling, because that's what we all want to hear. We just want to hear these guys get on there and tell their stories. And you facilitate that well. Hats off to you.
No. Look, Landon's a talker. He'll talk now. So
some guests are easier than others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Landon's a talker. It's like Kip. Kip will tell you a story. But really do appreciate it. Appreciate all of you as well. Can't wait to be back tomorrow. And as Phil mentioned, Chris Phillips is tomorrow. We've got Stuart Lake lined up on Friday. We also, by the way, are going to get a little pop in from our friend Meredith Taylor on Friday.
Hey.
It is the PGA Championship ended up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Mara's going to be here. And as a matter of fact, she texted me earlier, and I haven't had a chance to text her back. So we're going to do that. And she'll give us some insight as to what she's seeing on the course. One of the best weeks of the year for golf. And so we certainly look forward to that as well. For Faceless JC and Classic Phil, I am JB. Thanks again so much to Landon Powell for joining us today on our program. We look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barn Dough Co., the barndominiumco.com.